money. Our first and only order of business is the disciplinary action to be taken against Council Member Jack Frost.
Now, that's what I'm talking about. You love it. Am I right? You guys finally woke up and are giving me my own holiday. Frostmas, of course. It's just a placeholder. I'm wide open. Frostgiving, Frost of July, Frost Dog Day. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Jack, you are hereby charged with 273 counts of attempted upstaging of Santa Claus. You froze a volcano in Hawaii, you made it snow in the Amazon, and you frosted Mexico, sending all of the geese north for the winter. You have violated the legendary figure's code of conduct in a manner that is both willful and malicious.
Excuse me. Did you just accuse me of being skillful and delicious? Oh, please. Guilty as charged.
Frost, you herald the season. You're not a holiday.
You're the best friend. You're not the leading man.
And you kill fruit.
All in favor of suspending Jack Frost from the Legendary Council, please say...
Wait a minute. Father Time, wait a minute. You gotta understand, I have enormous untapped potential. But all I am, year after year, is an opening act. A setup man with Mr. Big.
Jack, why don't you let that go?
You let it go.
The same conversation.
You get the soda cans, and you get the TV specials, and you get the postage stamps, and the billboards, and the beautiful adoring wife, and the army of toy-building yes-men. What do I get? A few runny noses and some dead citrus.
You know, Jack, it's no picnic being me. Because of our production problems, an entire continent might go without toys this year. That's right. And on top of that, I got to protect the secret of Santa this year. Because the in-laws, oh boy, the in-laws. Mr. and Mrs. in bad mood every time I turn around. Are coming up to the North Pole. They're not supposed to be the North Pole, so I got to come up with some solution for that. And then on top of that, I'm a tad bit worried about being a father again because I wasn't all that good at it the first time.
Oh, Santa, we had no idea.
Santa, I'm sorry.
You know, if it were me in a red suit, I'd probably go right to the escape clause.
Oh no, the escape clause. Be too extreme, really.
Escape clause. What's up with that?
Maybe if you'd attend a meeting once in a while, you'd know.
You can manipulate time, but you can't grow hair. Legendary? I don't think so.
Look. I'm not evoking the escape clause. I made a commitment. I'll handle the toys, and I'll be there when my wife delivers that baby.
Let me...
You've done quite enough.
No. Instead of a suspension, how about community service, Santa? No, what if I tutor myself at the elbow of the mask? You know, I could lend a hand, make some toys, wrap a few presents, and if I don't make it with the hefty man here, then he says a word and you suspend me. Please, Santa. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm asking you for one. I want to make things right.
All right. You don't want to get suspended? I'll give you one more chance. But you have to be a Jack Frost of all trades.
Yes.
You also have to listen to the elves. Curtis is your boss. And I mean it. If there's one icicle out of place, you are gone. I will not let you down.
Motion carried.
Only for the plot line. Hey. Alright, so I have my headphones in due to the sound problem from the last episode. Especially on my end, which sorry about that. Okay, so Santa Claus 3. So our first scene, Jack Frost, he basically put up some signs saying Happy Frostmas or something like that. And now the legendary figures have a meeting to suspend him. But what exactly is going to happen on his suspension? I mean, is it not just going to grow cold anywhere? I don't know. So anyway, to avoid that, he suggests that he goes on to community service and just helps out Santa Claus basically. And Santa agrees as long as nothing bad will happen.
Workshop at the North Pole, right?
Where do they think we are?
Welcome to Canada! Hey!
Wow, that was an easy flight. We cruised right through customs. Oh, what a strange flight.
Alright, pretty simple, short scene. I just showed this scene just to show that they are up in Canada. I forgot to do it in the beginning. So Principal Newman gets a little upset that she can't be with her family due to her being Mrs. Claus now. So Santa finds a way to bring them up to the North Pole. But to protect the secret of Santa, they had to pretend it's Canada, which actually comes kind of important later on in the movie.
Cocoa in the lounge with your little names on it. Oh, it's a tantalizing blend of full, rich cocoa with just a suggestion of vanilla. Get in there and try some, won't you? Got your names on it. Enjoy! A sumptuous blend of Gold Coast and Spanish cocos, sweet to the palate, but oh so warm to the tummy. With a trickle of cinnamon and orange essence, enough to drive the taste buds mad.
Kitchen this size. I can't find the sandwich.
Oh, let me help you there. Oh, how does something like that happen? Oh, dear.
More secrets.
Nothing works in this joint. If you think this is something, you should see the delivery room.
Is the problem? I want to see the delivery room.
What?
Watch your back, people. Watch your back. Better right back there. All right. This is the delivery room? Yeah. This is not a delivery room. This is a disaster area. What's going on?
So now more scenes with Jack Frost helping around with his community service. So, especially with the first scene with, I think that was the Naughty Nice area. You could even see one of the elves passes by when he's messing with the control and just lets him get away with it. And does nobody else hear the sound for the machine whirring? And then, or nobody's like, hey, you know what? Like, it was fine. And then Jack Frost sent us off to get some cocoa, which sounds delicious. And then there was a problem. And then in all the scenes, and with that community service scene earlier, Santa's like, if there's one icicle out of place. Well, actually, at some of the work that he's done to help around, you can see that there are icicles actually out of place. I mean, so two things. Does Santa have problems every year and maybe doesn't suspect Jack? Because once Jack is gone, the North Pole will be running smoothly. So, I mean, if the first part with the Naughty Nice list is maybe one thing, so then with the second or the third, especially with the oven, or no, it was the cocoa machine, you even could see that there are like icicles hanging off, and it's iced up. So come on, Santa, like, there's your suspect right there. Does this usually happen?
Go ahead and make it feel better. I don't feel like it, Jack.
Come on, you just open it. So, are there times when you wonder
Wonder what?
if this was even
Worth it? More than you know.
tonight's one of these times?
Wish I'd never put that red coat on.
So, you should never become Santa at all?
I wish I'd never become Santa.
At all?
At all. At I'd never been Santa at all. Happy? And, don't even think about it, Jack.
You hit me with a shovel. Adios, fatty.
Okay, so Jack Frost figured out how to get Santa to evoke the escape clause, which is now a thing. And let's see. So Santa disappears very quickly, much faster than he did in the first one. And Scott Calvin didn't even come out in this one. Well, from the Scott Calvin from the first movie, after Charlie wakes him up because Santa's on the roof. That's like very quick, you know. Santa doesn't put up much of a fight, I guess.
I'm gonna change things back the way they were. Where's your boss? Where's Frost? Curtis, where's Frost?
Security!
Bring Frost out here right now.
I'll take care of him. Nice to see you, mon frere. I've been waiting. It's been 12 years already. Frost.
What have you done?
Hey, Kissy, that was our money, man. Oh, hello? Love what you've done with the place?
Shave a reindeer for $5.
Hey, Frost, what about the secret of Santa? How could you do this to the North Pole?
The whole thing was way too much work. Way too much pressure. Besides, no one even thanks you for all the effort.
What do you mean no thank yous? What about all the plates of cookies in the milk?
Please, cleanse me. So I stopped the whole toy delivery nonsense, and I brought anyone who could afford to pay right up here. Who needs magic? Who needs to be crawling on roofs and chimneys? I got everything I need right here.
Look around you. This is not how the North Pole is supposed to be. You know this is wrong.
Why don't you chill out and enjoy the swag, huh?
This junk is not what Christmas is about.
Hey, you're the one who gave it all up.
Because you tricked me.
Tricked you. Give me a break.
I didn't know you had my snow globe.
Maybe not. But who said I wish I'd never been sad at all?
What?
I said, who said I wish I'd never been sad at all? Rudolph? Rudolph's mama?
Frost, switch back with me. Now's your chance.
And this is your chance to enjoy the show. Security! Yes, sir. Take my guest to a seat, won't you? Thanks so much.
Come on, let's go. Tickets on sale now for the 6 o'clock health toss.
This scene is kind of what I've been waiting for because I could nitpick so much about this. Okay, so let's see. So after Jack Frost became Santa by putting on the coat, I guess it took him back to 12 years, back to the time when Santa evoked the clause, but he's not Santa anymore. So they kind of just like reverse places, or like kind of like a time reverse thing of what would have happened. And so let's see. So why isn't this Santa fat? And the last one, he got married. So he did find his wife in part 2, and then he became big again. He became big and grew his white beard again and his white hair. And this one, he just has white hair, but he doesn't even have like the Santa beard. And in the first movie, every time Santa shaved or Scott Calvin shaved before he became became accepted of becoming Santa, every time he shaved, his hair automatically grew. I mean, yeah, it took him a while for it to grow to its, natural Santa length. But why isn't his beard? Why isn't Frost a big Santa? Why is he skinny? I don't know. Also, if we go to the second one, what happened to his wife? Well, Jack Frost had to get a wife because he took it to the time Scott already was waiting on his baby to be delivered with Mrs. Claus. And in the second one, he had to have a wife. So where's Jack Frost's wife? Whatever happened in the second one should have happened for this one, but it didn't happen. And it's just, what happened?
Hey, Luce. I know something really wonderful about you. You love snow globes. If that's true, I've got a surprise for you. Just up those stairs, behind a vending machine, is a secret room filled with snow globes like you've never seen. Beautiful snow globes. There's a secret code to get in there.
What's the code?
Where was Neil? I mean, yeah, Scott goes to make a plan with Lucy, but where was Neil? Why wasn't he sitting with her?
Nice try, compadre. And lovely teamwork. There's only one problem. You're never gonna get me to say,
I wish I'd never been Santa at all.
Now, who said that? Rudolph? Rudolph's mama?
I gotta get my coat. Come here.
Whoa, freaky. Hey, you!
Let me go. That coat belongs to me. No, Frost, that coat belongs to him.
You got him!
This guy was huge.
Yeah, well, I'm Santa now.
You don't look like Santa.
You killed him!
Did not.
What a coat, amigo.
Dad! You gotta eat it!
Charlie? Charlie!
Amigo, I want a coat. Why?
Because you make such a good Santa? Because all the elves love you? All those people you took money from, they love you? Listen to me. Being Santa's not something you can take. It's something that chooses you. And how do I look? Nice? And you're too late. Carol! Carol! Well, that didn't work out the way I'd hoped. Carol!
And I think that we should apologize, don't you, honey?
No, it's good I'm Plotline. I'm his father-in-law. It's my job.
Yes, as long as you promise to do it every Christmas, it's fine with me.
Well, we'll see about that. I'm a very busy guy.
And so am I. And I'd like to show you guys what I do. Yes, it was about secrets. Secrets aren't for families. I'm tired of keeping you from your family. So if you guys would follow me to my factory. and say hello to the in-laws.
Hello.
How you doing?
Ah, so the plan worked. Good. So they finally get him to have this hold the snow globe, so Scott could have that recording of Jack saying that he wishes he wasn't Santa at all, so they could go back. So we'll go back to the original time before they had even switch places, and everyone but the two knew. Everyone but the two didn't know what happened. And earlier they were pretending the North Pole was Canada. So Santa says, you know what? Let me show you what I want to do. Let me show you what I do. He goes to show them the workshop. But why aren't the elves still pretending it's Canada? Santa's like, hey guys, the cover's blown. You could say what you really are or what you really do now. This is really Santa Claus's workshop. Why are they already elves? Like, they were pretending it's Canada like the whole time the in-laws were there. I don't know.
It's strange. It's Russian. Do I smell suntan lotion? It's a tropical. Miguel! Dos patas de nachos, por favor. What's happening to me?
Warming your heart.
But they told me it couldn't be done.
They didn't know about magical hugs.
I think I like it.
Okay, this is the weirdest part in the movie, at least in my opinion. So after Santa tells the truth with the in-laws now, the security, I guess, brings Jack Frost because he was trying to run away from what happened. And they want him to unfreeze Lucy's parents. But he claims to not do that because then he'll have to change or something. So then Lucy goes to give him a warm hug from earlier in the film that Scott said that her hugs were warm and magical. Why does he gargle? I don't get it. That's like the weirdest part in this movie is why he gargles. And Martin Short is like a little over the top in this. I think in this scene, really, it's just really weird with him changing to, I guess, a good guy now. And what happens to Jack Frost then? Is he still Jack Frost, but a good guy Jack Frost now? This scene is just weird, and it's just really weird. So, thank you guys for joining us today. Merry Christmas, everyone. Let's not forget the reason for this season. Most importantly, enjoy time with your family or friends. I hope you guys have a magical Christmas. Find something about the Christmas that makes it the most magical. I used to suffer from depression, and back in California, I had these tickets to Knott's Berry Farm, these season passes, and they had a Knott's Merry Farm, their Christmas version, and we had gotten to a season pass holder Merry Farm like opener night, like the first night before it opened to the public, and there's this thing called the Snow and Glow, and they played somewhere in my memory, the theme song basically from Home Alone. while snow came down from the roofs of the ghost town, and it was really magical to me. I used to suffer from depression, and being with all those strangers I didn't know in ghost town, listening to that music with the snow coming down, it felt really magical to me. And I'll try to post a link if I can to it, or if not, I'll do that in a separate video just so I don't get in trouble with this one, but so you could see what it was about. It was very magical for me. It made me cry, and I'll never forget that moment of of how magical it really was. So a thank you and a shout out to Knott's Berry Farm for hosting that snow and glow event during Knott's Berry Farm night. Well, anyway, guys, Merry Christmas.
When we think of Christmas past, we usually find the simplest things give off the greatest glow of happiness, such as waking on a winter morning, pulling up the shade, and finding what lay there the evening before is now covered in shimmering white. It is a Christmas snow, that special snow that awakens the child in all of us. It makes our hearts beat faster and catches us by surprise. It awakens
It's beautiful.
things more wonderful than anything we ever knew or dreamed.
It's on the way. Yeah. It tastes like soap, kind of, or something. That one's late, behind us.
I don't think that one's working.
What?
No, they don't work.
Or maybe they keep it in, huh?